Hi, this is just a follow up from the interview. I just wanted to touch bases on a few things. My nephew is currently 3, and uh, his mother was actually diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Her son has emotionally disturbed. My niece, my brother, had ADHD, and his daughter, not hers, was in special ed as well for speech language impairment. And I'm also thinking emotionally disturbed as well, but that's just from my observation. I haven't actually seen her old IEP. She's no longer in IEP, whereas my sister-in-law, her 2 sons still currently have IEPs. And so looking at their IEPs, because she kind of just handed me everything, because I'm kind of like, in a sense, their spokesperson at this point, as far as guiding them. And I told, I'm letting them know, because this is new to me. She actually got early intervention. She said she knew. We had discussions before the recording. We kind of discussed all the questions before, and because she wanted to make sure she really understood the questions, and yeah. And so she was saying that she noticed that from my nephew, because her older son isn't my nephew, that she noticed my nephew wasn't doing things that he should have been doing. He wasn't hitting those milestones. And so she noticed immediately, especially for speech. Oh, and she also mentioned that her brother, maternal brother, got his tongue clipped because he was in special ed as well for speech language impairment. And that was something originally why my nephew got looked into, because of the speech. And so one doctor was recommending to clip his tongue, the second one was saying no. And so they're at this point, they're looking to get a third opinion. And they kind of asked me mine, and I was like, I have no educational background on that. I mean, I couldn't even give you my opinion. I don't even know what that is about. And so yeah, so they were talking about that. And then I'm trying to think what else, sorry. Oh, and so she said then they got the early intervention. They were doing they had the speech therapist coming in and doing some trainings and stuff like that, and that he had recently got into a district here in town, or they got him into school, and he was in school for 2 weeks. And she said just with that 2 weeks, there was significant, progress. He started eating with utensils, and we noticed that he was talking more, and and just in 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But then, COVID-19, so now he's kind of like going back. I mean, he's still, still continuing doing those things. Something that his mom does really well, she just constantly talks about all the things that he can do. And so I thought that was awesome, and I, gave her praise for that. I'm like, I love that you want to push him and make him independent, and you say all the things that he can do, you continuously make it positive. And so I really like that you're doing that for him. You know what I mean? You're saying he can do it. And then my brother is kind of like, and this is from my sister-in-law's words at first, and initially she was like, well, he's kind of like, in a sense, kind of in denial, where but I think like maybe he is, but then at the same time, his thing is he doesn't want to disable him, in a sense. He wants to really like push him and include him in everything, and I'm totally with that, and I get it. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm all for it. Heck yeah, I want him to participate in every and anything that we can get him in. I want him to be in those things too. And I was just telling my sister-in-law, like, like, what resources, would you want to get trained? If there was training, do you want to get the training? And I kind of gave her, my older niece was there, and I kind of gave her, I was like, a lot of the time it's tough love. And, for me, this is like totally different because, I've worked with children with autism for 7 years, that age group, 3, and now I'm in high school. So, that's kind of why I got into it, because I love my little 3-year-olds, my 4-year-olds, that preschool. And I was explaining to them, like, I used to be really sad for my kids, the students, because of their disability. But eventually I knew my why, and I knew that I had the tough love, and I would do everything in my, everything that I could possibly do to have them be the best versions of themselves. And if there can be another Erica, hopefully at every site, which I believe that for the most part there usually is, that the kid can, but the parents also have to do their part at home, in mirroring what they do at their best ability, mirroring and being on the same page and advocating and pushing for those things. And if the kid doesn't have the services, asking for those services. So we kind of talked about his services, and I went through so I kind of showed my sister-in-law the discrete trial. I just did like sit down, or like get this. We had money, so I had my niece and get the dollar, and I kind of showed her how we do it, how it's really repetitive and positive reinforcement immediately, and that we're continuously collecting data. I was like, it's gonna look like they're mean, but that's how they learn. It's called discrete trial. And so I went over his goals. I went over his educational psychoevaluation. We went through that, and there was, there's a lot of terminology that I still don't understand, but a lot more than what my sister and my brother-in-law could understand. My sister-in-law and my brother could understand. So when I went over it with them, because they're pretty thorough, and so reading it in the summary was saying that he was getting a referral for intellectual disabilities was the first paragraph, and then the second one, it was saying for autism, which they were aware of. They already knew autism, and then I think they were thinking ADHD as well. They had no clue that intellectual disability was in there, and so I kind of let them know, and I had previously let them know a few times that intellectual disability was, previously formerly known as mentally retarded, but we don't say that because that's offensive. And so the new term is intellectual disability, and they were like really sad about it. And I said, well, it says it in there, but we would know for sure if it's in the actual, IEP, right? When it says, from my experience, because I look at the full IEPs all the time, so it'll say the primary and the secondary. So I was thinking it was gonna say that, and when she said she had his IEP, but she actually only had the goals. So we kind of went over them. I went over all the goals with her, and I was like, hey, these are totally doable. These are actually really good goals, and I feel like they're good, and they're a good starting point. And so I was like, you can actually do a lot of these around here, like the potting, like the self-help skills, brushing your teeth. He had like just calling his name and making sure he has that eye contact. I'm trying to think what other goals he had. Just the communication and different modalities. So whether it's pointing or gestures or pictures or approximations. And so, yeah, so he had really good goals, and I told her, I'm discrete trial trained, ABA trained, PACS, pretty much any autism related training. I'm trained in that. So, I could come over or have him come over for an hour or two. We can do some training. We can run some of these goals, since we don't know, because of this pandemic, we don't know the situation, but I'm willing to do all those things. If you want my help, I'm here to help. And so it kind of helps that 2 of my sisters have the experience and training in education and special needs. My mother as well was a para for the county and also a bus driver, so she has her experience as well. So the family's here full on to support them. I'm trying to think what else. I think other than that, just from observation of my nephew, I've really been building more rapport with him. I mean, he is my nephew, but it is, I don't see them that often. And so I would like to do more for the family, in a sense, creating stimuli, creating a circle time area for them, running discrete trial with them and showing my brother what it looks like, and, doing those programs. So, overall, the interview went really well. My sister-in-law is really open to start learning. My brother is eager to learn. They really want to do what's best for him so that he is academically successful and can be, the best version of himself, because they do expect a lot from him. And I think that's good. And I told them, all this is great, but at the end of the day, you guys need to really, start now and really go hardcore and really push and do all that you can do and get as much knowledge as you can and get the training that you can, learn as much as you possibly can, because at the end of the day, he's with you more than anything. So whether it's learning, I was just trying to teach them how they can do things in a, day to day, and I was like, hey, things that he would really be willing to work for is his phone. And you can probably train with this. What are his favorite, toys? What are his favorite characters? You can use that, get a step stool or get a toilet seat with that character. And my brother was really excited about that, and he really wanted to start getting, get on that with potty training him and having a more, schedule. So I really want to build him a schedule. I want to start creating his own pecs. I want to, like I said, get the stimuli for him to start running discrete trial for him. Yeah, so that was kind of like my summary. It was good. My brother thanked me and he said, thank you, I'm so glad you're here. I want you to come around more often. We need this. We need you here. Like, this is what JoJo needs. And so it was a really good visit, and I'm really excited. And this is very different for me, just like I feel like it is for every family. It's different, and you're just learning, and you want to push as much as you can, but at the same time you have to be really gentle and considerate and loving. And so it's very tough. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys have a great day.